It's another beautiful day right here. A special welcome to Talk Sport on Global Television. Of course, so many things happening from the world of sport, and we'll be bringing you the details this morning. As a matter of fact, we'll also look at very pertinent issues. But then, I think we should be congratulating Nigeria as they win bronze at 2025 Hockey AFCON. And apart from that, we have a lot of other things going on in the world of sport, and we'll be bringing you the details this morning. What do you have to do? Sport Ignite, Sport Unite, especially when you're having it day and night. For sport, there is no double dose. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo, and of course, I will be bringing you some very thrilling sports stories today. And don't forget that the highlights are always there to substantiate whatever you miss. In case you miss some of the games, don't worry, we'll bring you a part of the highlights this morning. And as a matter of fact, let me begin with what Nigeria actually did. And I'm so fascinated. I'm excited because of the winning. It's not easy. Sometimes you will think it's easy, but it's not easy until you get there. Someone once told me something. He said, well, the spectators seems to be more of good players than the people in the field of play. Now, let's congratulate the Nigerian men, of course, for how they actually clinched the medal at the 2025 Hockey African Cup of Nations after a commanding 3-1 victory over Kenya. As a matter of fact, if you watch that game, you will know that these men, both of them, both the Nigerian team and the Kenyan team, they didn't just come out to play, but you can see that every one of them came out to get a win, and that is in the third place playoff at the Suez Canal Authority Stadium back there in Egypt. It actually happened at Ismailia, that is in Egypt. The win now, as it is, has capped a strong finish for the Nigerians in what was the 12th edition of the Continental Championship of African Hockey Federation. One very beautiful thing about this tournament is that it held concurrently with the women's competition, which actually brought together Africa's best national sides. That's one of the very interesting things about the game. It brought about Africans' best. And as a matter of fact, the national side for 2 weeks of high intensity action. It's been 2 weeks. And this is where we are at the moment. Well, it's very interesting because Nigeria began the bronze medal clash brightly without any dull moment. My God, I was so interested in that game because it was a very bright moment, and Nigeria began the bronze medal clash brightly as you could ever think about it. And that took them in the lead just 16th minute through Solomon Dennis, who was very clinical in his performance, whose well-taken field goal actually gave the East Africans little chance to recover, or else they wouldn't have recovered at all. But then it is a game, like I said before we got started, they didn't just come there to watch the other Nigerian team play, but then some very spectacular about Kenya because they struck back 8 minutes later when Usagi Soklife actually converted a field goal to level the contest 1-1. You know, any game that gets to 1-1, what do you think? It has to be a restart. It means the game have to start all over again. This one want to topple the one goal. This side want to topple the one goal. So it was a fierce encounter between the Nigerian team and their Kenyan counterpart. Why? Because after the restart, Nigeria were able to regain control through a set piece precision. It was Samaila James who was one of the standout players of the tournament, as a matter of fact, and he came up and restored the lead in the 44th minute. My God, that happened with what I call a fierce finish from the penalty corner. Well, I feel like clapping for him right now. Kudos, guys. Kudos, guys. And of course, that corner, that penalty actually gave us that kick from that penalty area gave us that lead. The forward struck again 5 minutes later from another penalty corner to actually make it a 3-1, and that was able to help us seal the victory for the West Africans and a deserved bronze medal. That was a very beautiful one. Kudos to these guys. They are making us very proud. I think Nigeria seems to be hitting it from all cylinders right now. Now, moving away from there, it's good for us to talk still back at home here as we go to the Nigeria Professional Football League, where Kwara United coach talking about Suleiman aims at high after Katsina United win. Well, then I keep saying it that if you can't get hold of the moon, go for the star and get hold of the star. Kwara United interim coach is the one I'm talking about right here, talking about Ashifat Suleiman, who has already set his sights on winning the 2025-26 Nigeria Premier League football NPFL title after a narrow win against Kasakini Stadium in Ilorin, and that game was played yesterday. You need to watch that game and see how fierce that game actually was. How did it really happen? Suleiman assured that his team won't relent until they achieve their target for the season. And of course, Kwara United now occupy the 10th position on the Nigeria Professional Football League table with 12 beautiful, outstanding points following their victory. And that victory actually was what took them to that level. The 2025 President Federation Cup champions will also be up against Rangers United in their next game, and that game is going to be played in Coal City. When I say Coal City, you know I'm already talking about Enugu State. More results and more actions and inactions and reactions are still coming from the Nigeria Professional Football League, that is NPFL. Now let's talk about Tornadoes right now. Tornadoes Dalhatu bags hat-trick against Enyimba, and of course they bag hat-trick. Then Enyimba on their own side and Bayelsa fall at home. Well, this is unusual. Do you know why I said it's unusual? Because Enyimba, well, I think some people are saying that Enyimba is not the Enyimba that we used to know anymore, because before now, during the time of their Enyama, if you call Enyimba, anywhere they go, it's a straight win. And Enyimba was even representing Nigeria at some level, at continental levels. And then Bayelsa United too, well, they've not been so clinical. A lot of people expected so much from this game, but then they fall at home. There is this belief in Nigeria that if you are playing back at home, you have the opportunity of winning. Well, let me not call Kano Pillars right now before someone will say, well, Kano Pillars, if they lose at home, the reaction is different. But let's not go there right now. Let's quickly congratulate Niger Tornadoes Dalhatu, who bags hat-trick. Then, fortunately for Enyimba and Bayelsa United, they fall back at home, losing their game. And that's all about match day 9 of the Nigeria Premier Football League, which produced a high drama and shock. According to what actually happened that day, the result across several centers came with a lot of shock. If you don't have shock observer, sometimes if these games are going on, you develop headache. But then if you have the shock observer, you know that, well, it is a game. It's either you win or you lose. It is two ways. It's either you win or you lose or you draw. No do. We fight the grand sofa. We share the point. But it was a different game altogether. As a matter of fact, that game was actually saddled with a lot of drama and shock result across all the centers, most of the centers, with away teams still in the spotlight, as Warri Wolves and of course Caliphate recorded a stunning victory on the road, while Niger Tornadoes Abdulaziz Dalhatu struck a sensational hat-trick in Minna, that is in Niger State. Then let's come back to Aba at the Enyimba Stadium in Aba. Right there, Warri Wolves actually silenced the home crowd with a 2-1 win over Enyimba. My God, I feel like holding my head right now. Well, it is a game. It's either you lose or you win. So you don't bad about it. But then if one particular club is always winning, you know, it won't be sweet. But when there is a match, especially losing at home in MPFL, man, it is hard. But then when it happens, we give kudos to the guys who actually made it happen. Of course, that game was a one that silenced the guys back at home in front of the crowd. You know, when you are losing in front of your crowd, man, it's something else. That game ended 2-1 with a win over Enyimba, ending the People's Elephants 4-match unbeaten home run. Back there at home, they've been winning their games back to back, but now they have actually gotten out of that celebration and victory and euphoria. The visitors actually took the lead in the 18th minute, very early, through an own goal by Mohamed Hosseini before Edidong Ezekiel restore a parity for the host 10 minutes later. However, Tejere actually was the one who actually came in 67th minute strike. And that strike was able to seal an emphatic win for the visitors, marking Enyimba's second successive league defeat and pushing them down to 8th place on the table with 13 points. Well, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, that's down. Let's move away from what happened because I told you the victory was not just in Abab, it also extended to Yenagoa. Yenagoa there, Bayelsa United also suffer what we call a heartbreak. My God. Man, as Kum Califat continue their resurgence with the 2-1 triumph, Uche Moses puts the visitors ahead in the 54th minute before Jihad Mustafa leveled from the spot just past the 4-hour mark. But then it was a very beautiful one. But Olubode Hassan, 77th minute winner, condemned the host to their 4th loss of the season, and of course propelled Califat to 14th with 11 points. I wanted to say 11 beautiful points, but 11 points, 14th position. Is that beautiful? Well, I leave that to you. But then that was able to ease them out of the relegation battle. And that's one very beautiful thing. Releasing them, easing them out of relegation. You know, when you are in relegation, your mind will always be beaten because you don't know what is going to happen next. Especially when you are in relegation and you are already going down, reducing points. But then I think it's a good one for them because that already is them out of relegation battle. They are no longer thinking about relegation now, but how to get up the ladder. But that result actually marked a back-to-back win for Owerri Base side following their victory over Enyimba in March the 8th. But then the biggest result of the weekend came in Minna, Niger State, where Niger Tornadoes, my guys, you know, I belong to the winning team. Even in Premier League, in Champions League, you know that Ramsey belongs to the winning team. If you are winning, you are my team. But if you are losing, man, failure is an orphan. Success has many brothers, of course. But then let's give it to Niger Tornadoes as they actually crush. I call it crushing. You know how they crush. When we say crushing, you know how it's been done. Niger, thank you, kudos to you guys for crushing Plateau United 4-0 in a one-sided account. Abdulaziz Dalhatu actually was the one who came in with the undisputed star of the day, and that is what he actually gained for himself, and he was able to net a hat-trick too in the 13th, 52nd and 69th minute. My God. While Tornado actually were there making things happen, Tedo Shimagande added a 4th deep into the stoppage time. You know, that goal that comes in during stoppage time is very painful. When you were already saying, well, let it just be 3-0 now. We know, so we don't lose. Then before you know it, bam, the 4th goal enter. That's so unfortunate for the team. All right, we'll move away from the MPFL and go to what is happening in FIFA. But before then, let's go on a quick break. When we return back, we'll look at the Under-20 World Cup, how Morocco is faring with Argentina in the final. Well, to win the trophy, it's not an easy one, but then more details will be hitting your screen when we return from this break. Stay with us. TalkSport returns with Ramsey after this break.